Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. Absolutely no surprise here, huh? The New York civil case against Donald Trump has officially wrapped up and the verdict is in. Donald Trump has been found liable. Yep, we're gonna be hearing it from the leftoid crowd over and over again. Donald Trump is a proven fraudster, blah blah frickin' blah. But let's be real here. Did anybody really expect anything different? This case was sealed on day one. Letitia James told us that.
Before this trial even began, the judge ruled in our favor and found that Donald Trump did engage in years of significant financial fraud we uncovered.
They essentially found him guilty before the trial even started. A civil case in a deeply partisan court with a Democrat-elected Soros-funded AG who campaigned on getting Donald Trump and a judge who's married to a Democrat activist. Who would have thought that this would be the end result? Obviously, it's not shocking to anyone, but the actual numbers that they're attributing here are incredibly shocking. Trump has just been fined $364 million, and the Trump Organization just received a 3-year ban from operating in New York. This is beyond ridiculous. I know the left is cheering as if justice has been served, but a horrible precedent has been set. I truly believe that this is going to backfire. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the verdict is in. Let's take a look at a Fox News segment just to basically quickly get the scoop.
And we are now looking at this. Of course, I jetted to the bottom to see what we can find in the conclusion, and there are several big numbers in there. The judge talks about in this finding Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Allen Weisselberg, and others involved in this, as you said, had already decided that they had been fraudulent in some way. One of the first things he orders is that several of them together, including Donald Trump and his trust and Trump Organization, will be have to pay $168 million and change. The next paragraph goes on to say that there's another ruling for $126 million and change. Another one for $60 million. Now, we'll have to look and see if any of those are overlapping or if we add these up. But these are some of the numbers coming out. Goes on to say that Eric Trump has to pay $4 million in one case, Donald Trump Jr. $4 million in one of these cases, and Allen Weisselberg $1 million. So there's a lot there. We're going to parse through these numbers, but they are big. Incredible. We knew there was a big ask. It looks like they may be in the neighborhood of close to $300 million or more.
Yeah, Shannon, we are seeing this. I believe this is a Reuters report. We're all trying to sort of balance up these numbers here. But according to some of the reporting out there, the number is $354.9 million. And as you say, the damages are spread across a number of the Trump family members who are deeply involved in the business. Don Jr., Eric Trump, as you say, $4 million. Now, perhaps equally importantly, according to the early reporting that we're seeing here, the judge has banned Donald Trump and others from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation or other legal entity in New York for 3 years.
$364 million in a 3-year ban. For what exactly? You know, if you paid attention to this case, you know that Letitia James actually used a very obscure law that's never been used in this context to go after Donald Trump so she could fine the Trump Organization, even though there were literally zero damages. Generally, in a case like this, where a defendant is forced to pay in a case of fraud, they're essentially paying back the victims of said fraud. The court will calculate damages, and then of course they'll probably add punitive damages on top of all of it, and then they'll slap you with a number, you gotta pay this. That number is supposed to be derived from somewhere actually concrete. But no, of course, not with Donald Trump. Thanks to this obscure law that they're taking advantage of, they can simply say, even though there were no damages, Trump is being fined nearly $400 million. Why? Well, presumably because Orange Man Bad, of course. There were no damages. Donald Trump didn't fraud anyone. Supposedly, he frauded the bank, which that claim makes absolutely no sense, by the way. We've covered that a million times. But supposedly, he frauded the bank. But if you actually know what happened here, he actually paid the banks back in full. It's not like the bank lost money. So my confusion is where these damages come from. It seems like what's happening here is the state of New York is just slapping a number in the hundreds of millions in an attempt to extort the Trump Organization. That's what it really looks like. You know, maybe a month and a half ago, Kevin O'Leary gave his 2 cents on the issue.
Well, let's leave out Trump for a minute and let's leave out politics and just talk about what happens in real estate development anywhere. So if you're a developer and you've got a building on a block anywhere in America and it's worth, let's say, $500 million, and you want to build a building right beside it, you go to the bank and say, This building is worth $500 million. I'd like to borrow a construction finance loan against this asset, and I want you to tell me it's worth $500 million too. And the bank negotiates with you and says, well, no, we think it's worth $400 million. And you fight it out. You're always trying to show your assets in the brightest light with the sunshine you can possibly determine for them. Every single real estate developer everywhere on earth does this. They always talk about their asset being worth a lot, and the bank says no. And that's just the way it is. So in this case, when I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not pro or con, or I don't care about the politics, who lost money? Nobody. The bank got paid back the construction finance loan, and a new building was built. And if you're going to sue this case and win, you got to sue every real estate developer everywhere. This is all they do. This is what they do all day long, every day.
His analysis is spot on. Donald Trump was just found liable for doing what every other real estate developer, not only in New York City, but basically across the world does. It is not Donald Trump's duty to 100% accurately appraise his own properties when applying for a loan at the bank. It's actually the bank's job to do that. And so if the bank looked at the numbers and then said, yep, checks out, we agree, and then gives Donald Trump money, where is the fraud? Where's the damages? The answer is nowhere. The answer is this entire case is a scam. It's a sham. Meanwhile, you have legitimate criminals running rampant in New York City, and this is what they're focused on. This whole thing is rotten. It reeks. And it sets a real ugly precedent of campaigning on the legal persecution of your political enemies. Let's not forget who Letitia James is.
He leaves office as a private citizen. He will no longer have presidential immunity.
Days of this president are numbered. We will rise up together and we will resist this president. Bring him down.
Will you sue him for us?
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain. He's going to know my name personally.
I love it.
That's the person supposedly getting a big W against Donald Trump in court today. And this is the judge. All smiles as these two collude together to interfere in the 2024 election. But I don't know, I just have this little feeling that this whole thing is going to backfire. I mean, first of all, what message does this send to property developers in New York State? Especially as Manhattan is currently experiencing a housing and rental crisis. Kinda frickin' stupid if you ask me. You know, the idea is here that Donald Trump is now a proven fraudster. I mean, he is done. I don't think that's going to be the effect at all. I think a lot of people are going to start educating themselves on what happened here. They're going to start learning about who Letitia James is. They're going to be looking at this $364 million fine and probably compile it with the, what was it, nearly $100 million punitive damage verdict that he received in the E. Jean Carroll case also. They're going to be looking at the totality of it, thinking, this seems disproportionate, it seems incorrect, it seems wrong, it seems politically motivated. This is election interference, and of course the whole thing's going to backfire. That's my prediction, because it's all just so utterly ridiculous. The idea that you could have a Democrat politician elected AG purely based on the concept of going after Donald Trump when his immunity drops, not to mention the clear bias of the judge himself, the idea that you could have this case pushed forward and wrapped up in this manner and nobody's going to see the conflict of interest, just seems completely unbelievable to me. Donald Trump is a fraudster. Not to mention they banned him from operating in New York City for the next 3 years. I mean, it's just absolutely wild, unprecedented, uncharted territory. A horrific abuse of the justice system, partisan rage, election interference, that's what this is. It's as clear as day. I don't care how many people are fawning over the $365 million payment or requested payment. There is simply no way this whole scam benefits the Democrats. I refuse to accept that. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Not much else to be said. I mean, we've been going in on this whole Letitia James witch hunt for, I think, over 12 months at this point. It is what it is. It's a sham, and let's just see where it takes us. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.